Right now, the subscription, for example, in Algo represent 15-20% of our income. There's a monthly subscription that the client pays in order to keep running, keep using the tool. This definitely opens a more long-term collaboration with client. We feel a responsibility for outputting high quality motion design into the world. It's not the easiest model to run. Do I suggest to do this? I'm not sure.
So how would you describe what your studio Algo does?
Yeah, so Algo is motion design and data visualization studio, and we are very much focused on video automation. And that means that for our clients, we build visual systems, identities, and in general motion systems that later would turn into a tool, something like a dashboard or an app, whatever, that is able to let people on the client side to generate a lot of content. So we are all about trying to make motion more accessible within a client organization for maybe people that are producers or that are like a project manager or a marketing person or even a designer, but maybe more of a UI designer that is more maybe common into the client team.
Yeah, so it's quite a unique offering. So you're doing like almost like the custom work upfront, aligning with the brand, like building out the project. But then you also have this like delivery system after that, and that's like continue with them. And how does that work? Is that continuing your relationship with them? And I know you have some sort of like subscription, like app type thing. Like how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. You perfectly described it. So we start to work as a traditional agency model. So maybe we work for a couple of months with a client and we help them developing the creative side. Sometimes they come to us with a strong brand and maybe they just miss the motion aspect. Sometimes they even have the motion aspect somehow, but they want more of a tool to be used internally. Or sometimes they don't even have the initial kind of creative aspect and branding aspect. So we are helping them define how their brands communicate through motion, which is very interesting. I feel it's more in the branding kind of area. But yeah, then after this phase, and this phase continues and evolves into a more technical phase where we are starting to build a tool, a dashboard that can use different technologies. We are not a platform, we are not a product, in the sense that we are for each individual need, we are going to build something which is a bit different. So sometimes we use Lottie and we create, a Lottie powered stories experience inside of an app. Sometimes instead we are going to build a Mac app that is going to be used to export video files. So it's different each time. But what it has in common is that, of course, it's going to be a product somehow that is tailored to that specific client and that specific use case. And that is going to allow them later to continue creating content over time. This definitely opens a collaboration, on a more long-term collaboration with client. Oftentimes it's about maybe updating, maybe adding new scenes and new modules after a while, or updating the style if something changes also on their side. But yeah, I would say that a traditional Algo project maybe lasts 2 months for the setup of the project, but on average, it remains for maybe, 3 to 5 years. So after the first setup phase, where we are paid more for our human work, say on it like a traditional agency would do, we start a subscription. So we have, of course, a smaller for few $100 normally per month, something like that, in function of the many options available. But basically, there's a monthly subscription that the client pays in order to keep running, keep using the tool. It's a model that is not so frequent online. Of course, there's a lot of people going either agency model, fully agency model, and many are going instead more of software as a service. I feel that it's challenging for sure. It's not the easiest model to run. I feel I'm not maybe advising all of the viewers to follow this, but I feel it feels pretty natural. And of course, if you're starting from an agency, it's nice to have that aspect of subscription that's helping you. Right now, the subscription, for example, in Algo represent 15-20% of our income. Knowing that you will have, when you're starting a year, you will have already a base that it's solid. It really, and of course that adds up, because as you work on more projects, those will keep piling up. Also, I would say that given that the cost of cloud computing in general, of servers, whatever, is always decreasing, is always going down, and there always are more performing options. We see that with AI models these days as well. It's not going to be probably a bigger portion of our income later on, actually maybe the opposite. But it's still, I think it's interesting to not only have one-off collaborations, but still follow them. There are some projects that are started maybe 6-7 years ago at the very early days of Algo, and are still going. So I'm super happy about those. It's a way to continue collaborating with the client over time.
Have you ever thought about like building more like a software or like more of a productized service so that it would always be similar for a similar type of client?
Yeah, we started a bit more with that in mind. Over time, we kind of switched more towards following 100% on a tailored way, but simply because the most interesting project that I as a creative we want to do are maybe the Spotify Wrapped example, or our project where, of course, the creative side is very fundamental. Because the problem with going towards more of a product to software as a service direction is that, yeah, you can build a bunch of templates, but they're not going to be 100% adapted to every use case. So of course you would have people that kind of themselves need to adapt to the template. It's something that we do. We have some demos available online. We have some little tools that we kind of also use as a marketing opportunity, of course, to let you try a bit how creating a video with Algo is. So we have a demo page on our website, and we also recently launched a Figma plugin that has kind of the same process. But we are not really pushing into that direction. We feel a responsibility for outputting high quality motion design into the world. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically, yeah, I feel that when you are going to the software as a service kind of direction, you are targeting incredibly vast audience, and probably you're going to fill the web with content that is not 100% there. I just think that probably our agency type of mindset is probably more important than the product type of mindset.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're kind of sitting between the custom work, but then also you have this subscription side of it, which I think is cool because, like you said, like it's giving you that foundation of revenue, let's say, which I think is really cool and probably allows you to do more stuff. So, like, yeah, with that in mind, do you feel like it's something that you would recommend other people do, like not necessarily exactly the same as you, but exploring these ideas of like having something that maybe is a foundational part of your business and then doing more custom work on top, or maybe having like another productized service or a niche?
Do I suggest to do this? I'm not sure, honestly, because I think it's interesting. Of course, as I was saying, the foundation is really great from a financial point of view. At the same time, is very challenging because, of course, you're always a bit with your head in two worlds. You have to be relevant from a technical point of view, so you're competing with all of the Canva or whatever tools that are coming out with tons of money and a huge amount of developers that are building stuff. And at the same time, you're competing with the best studios in the world from a creative point of view. So it's really challenging to stay in this middle area. I feel it's a sweet spot for us because I like both worlds, and I feel that it's interesting to stay a bit in the middle like that. I really feel that it's the most interesting type of work that we can do. I'm excited for waking up and starting to work more if I'm working on a nice project for a client and building their motion identity and helping them to do that, rather than I'm creating this template. But yeah, coming back to your question about would you suggest people to, maybe not exactly this model, but yeah, if you can find any way to have of course a subscription or a foundation. I know that they were popular for a while, the kind of productized services, and I feel that we are already over this kind of trend, because I'm feeling that already it's maybe it's working in the kind of UI design type of field, or maybe with some development, but I feel that yeah, it's not really sustainable, and it pushes you towards the less, like the more repetitive but less qualitative work. Yeah, it's going to probably be less money for doing work that is a bit less interesting.
We've talked a lot about technology. Where do you think for, the motion design and animation industry, have you got any thoughts about like where this is going in the future and what people should be kind of looking towards?
It's a very refreshing period. I think it's I feel very energized for all of the animation software coming out. We have, for example, Cavalry, and also, of course, we have Lottie on one side that we use a lot, Rive on the other end, which is also very interesting. We started playing with it more and more. I think it's a very refreshing time where After Effects is getting some competition. We are finally getting tools that are super great for new types of work. we are using AI inside of Algo in many different ways. Normally, we build a UI, and so I don't know, you can write a title, choose a color palette, upload a photo into this UI. And nowadays, we are exploring adding sort of a prompt-based interface to that, so that you can maybe, I don't know, drop a CSV with data, and the AI will automatically create the video in function of what we feel it's the best type of video we can make with your tailored system and the data that you're passing. So yeah, we're using AI in many different ways, and I feel it's a tool that is used mostly by creative.
I agree. I think that it's moving more towards it being a tool for creatives. If you're a big business, you're not like, I'm going to do my whole branding, I'm going to do all my videos.
Exactly.
Like that's,
OpenAI just rebranded, and they went to Studio Dunbar to create a beautiful rebrand, fix their logo, which had inconsistent line 8 for ages. Finally, we have that solved. My OCD kind of eye is finally happy. Another very interesting point about AI is that AI is really great at repeating what has already been done. The core of what you do is probably going to become more and more what's new. Our clients are going to ask you to do something which the AI cannot do.
Now that you've seen this motion design studio's unique business model, you might want to work out which business model is right for you. So you should watch this video next, where I rank motion design business models.